Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play the entirety of this video and then I will go back and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that were done right and or done wrong. Without further ado, here we go.
This is the community briefing involving an officer-involved shooting that occurred in the 500 block of Kennedy Street Northwest at approximately 4:45 p.m. on Friday, October 22nd, 2021. Note to viewers, this video contains graphic content of an officer-involved shooting. The Metropolitan Police Department's model use of force policy and training emphasize de-escalation, proportionality, and reasonableness. Since December 2016, all patrol officers are required to wear body-worn cameras. On Friday, October 22nd, 2021, at approximately 4:45 p.m., a uniformed 4th District officer was flagged down by an individual who reported seeing an adult male with a gun chasing another male. The officer provided the police dispatcher and other officers a description of the individual with the gun. At approximately 4:50 p.m., 2 officers located an individual matching the description in the 300 block of Kennedy Street Northwest. The officers attempted to stop and handcuff the individual, who immediately began resisting. During the struggle, one of the officers felt a concealed object consistent with a firearm on the right side of the individual's waistband. The individual was able to break free of the struggle with officers and fled across the street into an alley where there was a black Jeep parked. The individual entered the vehicle from the passenger side and got into the driver's seat while officers were attempting to remove him from the vehicle. The involved officer responded to assist with apprehending the individual and entered the vehicle from the rear driver's side door. The individual, ignoring commands from officers, started the vehicle and suddenly accelerated forward, throwing the 2 original pursuing officers to the ground, causing injuries to both and stranding the involved officer in the rear of the individual's vehicle. The involved officer directed the suspect numerous times to place the vehicle in park. The individual briefly stopped but did not place it in park and then quickly continued driving westbound on Kennedy Street Northwest. The involved officer discharged 1 round from his department firearm, striking the individual 1 time. After discharging his firearm, the involved officer exited the moving vehicle and fell into the roadway in the 500 block of Kennedy Street Northwest. The individual continued to flee in the vehicle and left the scene, shortly thereafter presenting himself to a local hospital for treatment of a non-life-threatening injury. Officers were treated for non-life-threatening injuries at local hospitals. The individual has been arrested and charged with felony assault on a police officer while armed, kidnapping while armed, unlawful possession of a firearm, resisting arrest, fleeing a law enforcement officer, failure to obey, and reckless driving.
Stop reaching! Stop reaching! I'm unlocking. Stop reaching! Stop reaching! Stop reaching! Stop! Okay, stop! 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 Stop the car! 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 Put it in park! 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 I'm not going to shoot nothing. Put it in park! Sir, just put it in park! Put it in park! Put it in park! Don't shoot me, stop! Put it in park! Please put it in park! Sir, please! Put it in park! Don't shoot me! Put it in park! I can't go to put it in park! Please! Put it in park! Put it!
Kennedy right now. Okay, 500 Kennedy Street.
Shut up! I fired. I fired. I hit him. I hit him. He was. All right, stay here.
This incident is pending review by the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. When the United States Attorney's Office completes their review, the case will be investigated by MPD's Internal Affairs Bureau.
All right, let's get into it. Let's hit the replay.
This is the community briefing and
drop this volume down. So first thing I noticed from the Dodge Charger vehicle here is the smart siren being mounted to the dashboard the way it is. There are some places that, for whatever reason, believe in mounting these devices up on top of the dashboard area. I've never fully understood it. I've always said that, you have a regular, police console in the middle. Why not mount it there? Well, when I was looking at this, I also happened to notice a gear selector for the Charger right down here. That's unusual. The police models should have the gear selector up on the column. Why this particular one has it down here like the regular consumer model, I'm not really sure. But if that's the way that is, then it makes me wonder what the dash, or not the dash, but what the rest of the middle console looks like. We don't really get to see it any, but it's a peculiar design. It really is.
Stop reaching. Stop reaching. I'm unlocking. Stop reaching. Stop reaching. Stop reaching. Stop. Okay, stop.
So this officer was literally just kidnapped. This is the second kidnapping video of a police officer that I've seen. The first one that I recall is, I believe it was Casper, Wyoming. The officer there dove into the passenger seat and trying to get control of the guy. The guy took off with him in it. I'm sure that these instances have occurred before in the past. They just were probably never able to be captured on a body camera. And it's so unique for this to occur twice in a year. I would have just first thought, I would not imagine that this is a common occurrence to where it would happen twice in the same year. But nonetheless, he's been kidnapped. He has been taken against his will. And he tries to tell this guy to stop multiple times, put it in park multiple times.
Stop! 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 Stop the car!
He passed a police car in the process of it.
Reaching! Stop!
If you'll look out of this open area, you'll see a police cruiser go by.
Okay, stop! 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 Stop the car! Stop the car! Stop the car!
So he doesn't see two pass by. He gets his gun out and he's pointing it at him. He's practically begging this guy to stop.
Stop the car! Stop the car!
At this point, they're stopped, right? If there was any hesitation or reservation about wanting to shoot while the vehicle was in motion, I could kind of understand that. But now it's stopped. Like now, if you want to shoot, now's the perfect time to shoot. You're stopped, right? He doesn't, and the guy decides to start to pull forward. At this moment, I think that he should have definitely started shooting at this point. Um, I think that he could have started shooting at the very beginning before he came to this stop, and still be justified. But for sure, this guy came to a stop. There's a long enough pause to where any reasonable person would say, hey, you know what? This is a time for reflection. This guy should have recognized, like, all right, I just kidnapped a cop. I should probably stop while I'm ahead. And then he just starts to go forward. Like, this guy obviously has no intentions of letting this officer go, and wants to continue riding around with him. And who's to say that this guy, doesn't try to drive the officer to some secluded area and then start fighting him? That would be that would be pretty bad, because I highly doubt that officer's radio has GPS capability in it, and no one's able to figure out where he's at. He might have been able to call out road signs and stuff like that as he's going, but as it is right now, nobody has any idea where he's at. All they know is that their fellow officer is in the back car of a bad guy, and the bad guy's taken off. So I think that for sure at this point he should have started shooting.
Put it in park! I'm not going to shoot nothing. Put it in park! Sir, just put it in park! Put it in park! Put it in park! Don't shoot me, stop! Put it in park! Please put it in park! Sir, please! Put it in park! Don't shoot me! Put it in park! I can't go. Put it in park! Please, put it in park! Put it!
And he decides to bail out of the moving vehicle.
Right now. Okay, 500 Kennedy Street.
Shut up! I fired! I fired! I hit him! I hit him! He was... Alright, stay here.
This
Anything worth shooting once is worth shooting twice. As far as I'm concerned, he should have dumped the fucking mag in this dude. Why he only fired one round and then decided to jump out of a moving car, I don't know. It blows my mind. Yeah, he could have very easily just fired multiple rounds at this point. I don't even think that, firing into his chest like this from the side is a viable option. He's at close contact. He very well could have just pointed the gun at this dude's head and fired a couple of close contact shots and ended this thing, right then and there. That's what he should have done. He should have just put a bunch of lead in this dude's head and be done with it. There's no reason for why this guy was able to go as far as he did, um, with kidnapping a police officer, and then be able to continue to go on with a non-life threatening injury. This officer should have used deadly physical force to save himself, and he did use deadly physical force. He did shoot the guy, but I don't think the amount of force that he used was appropriate. I think he should have used more force. Again, like I said, I think he should have fired that gun to slide lock and saved himself the right way. Bailing out of the vehicle like that, holy shit. That's, he's lucky that he didn't roll and his head land under the tire of another vehicle and flatten his head like a pancake. He's very lucky. He's very lucky he didn't break his neck doing that. Um, jumping out of a moving vehicle. I mean that's hell. That's dangerous. Lots of stuff can go wrong in that moment. Um, I, Me personally, I just don't think that jumping out of a moving vehicle is the best option. Just too much there to create injuries. His safest place would be in the back of that vehicle. If this driver would have lost control after being shot, still the safest place for him to be is in the back seat area, and just let this vehicle kind of crash into a parked vehicle on the side of the road.
Hurry, park! Please, hurry, park! Hurry! Park! Please, hurry, park! Hurry!
That little tone that you hear is the emergency button being pressed. Um, Whenever you hear that, that means someone has pressed the little orange button on the radio, and that sends the tone all across that channel, and that lets everyone know, hey, some serious shit has just happened. Usually, it's referred to as a man down button. You press that when you've gone down or you're losing a fight, what have you. That's when that button gets pressed, and the dispatchers will also see on their computer, because all these radios nowadays are hooked up to basically a computer, and they go through the computer and go through the radio tower and out to other radios and vice versa. And so when someone presses that button, it's able to pop up on the dispatcher's computer terminal that radio number 515, whatever, is the one that is broadcasting the emergency tone. And um, that radio can actually take precedence over all other radios on the net. So if you press the orange button, that will cut transmissions off for everyone else, or it can if it's programmed that way. It can cut off transmissions for everyone else when they're in the middle of talking, gives you priority over the talk group, and um, everyone's radio display will flash a little symbol on there or flash a little orange bar, and it will show which radio is broadcasting that emergency tone, and that stuff won't stop. Well, the images on the radio won't stop until the person who hit that button turns that radio off and turns it back on. Some radio systems are capable of doing remote listening after someone presses the emergency button. So some things can be programmed to where you hit that emergency button, it sends the tone out, and then it keys your mic up for a certain duration. It can be programmed for your microphone to be keyed up for 10 seconds or 5 seconds or 20 seconds. And that allows you to be able to shout out loud, so the dispatchers can hear what's going on, and you don't have to worry about reaching to your radio and trying to press a button and talking for the first 10 15 seconds of you hitting that button, which is a pretty cool feature. Again, he's lucky. Like, he very well could have easily rolled on the ground and someone could have ran him over. Pause it just right. Look at this old school Gen 2 Glock. Like, holy hell, this thing is freaking old. Like, this had to have been, most likely purchased back in the 1990s. This gun's been around for a minute. Um, it's actually kind of interesting to see a gun that old still in use, and that's just a testament to Glock products. Glocks are their workhorse. They're damn good products, and even something as old as this is still in service.
Okay, 500 Kennedy Street.
I fired. I fired. I hit him.
I'd imagine he's probably in a lot of pain. I've kind of bailed out of a moving vehicle before. Granted, it was in a field, not on pavement. Um, I can't. Yeah, I don't think I've ever jumped from a moving vehicle on pavement, but I have jumped from a moving vehicle out in the field before, and it's still not that comfortable. Um, so I could only imagine what landing on asphalt like that would feel like. So he's probably in a lot of pain.
I hit him. He was.
Not much else to talk about in this video. The suspect, again, he ended up having non-life-threatening injuries, went to a hospital for his gunshot wound, and then obviously got caught that way. If it weren't for that, this dude probably would have gotten away with it. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.